Hello, and welcome to another episode of This Is Our Year. I'm your host, Michael Kurland. Joining me, as always, is my partner in crime, Dougie Fresh. Douglas, how are you doing today?
Yeah, we took a little bit of a break, man. We're back.
We're back.
I love this time of year, and it's good to be back with you, my brother. So, and by the way, good to see you got home okay. You survived your East Coast Odyssey last couple of weeks.
Yeah. So before we get to what you're drinking, I took a little sabbatical. I went back home. My wife, who is so loving and caring, told me to go take a bachelor party. I didn't know what a bachelor party was. I think she invented it, but she said, go back east where I'm from, see all your friends, do your fantasy football drafts, come home, and then you're going to be a dad. So get it out of your system. And I said, okay, cool. And so we took this 2 week sabbatical, got to see everybody, got to see Dougie, talk about our fantasy drafts probably next week when we do a little bit more of a football season preview. But, I come back from vacation. I come back from this little sabbatical, and we got this whole new platform and bigger and better intro. It's the same intro, but everything's set up nicely here. This is great.
It is awesome. And we got the same team behind us. I'm all discombobulated because everything looks different. So I got the flop sweat, but it's going to be fucking sick. So cheers to that. And great segue there.
What are we drinking, Dougie?
How about some Space Cat today?
Space Cat.
And let me tell you the story of Space Cat. We were actually right. We had our draft on Saturday. We were right down by the brewery, which is in Norwalk, Connecticut. And right around your old stomping grounds, kind of near Marvin's school, definitely, East Norwalk area. And they're a brewery that kind of took over an old clothing manufacturing factory from 100 years ago. And they make a damn good beer. And they got a pretty good, marketing thing going too. And I think it's some guys from Two Roads who started it. So some great pedigree there. So I have a little session IPA here.
Nice.
From Space Cat. Yeah.
I like it. Well, I am back on the wagon just for this week. Off the wagon, on the wagon.
I don't blame you, man. After the last.
I did 11 days hard straight. I also have another fantasy draft tonight, and I think starting to drink now for my fantasy draft in 3 hours is bad for the season. Good, maybe good for the the entertainment of the picks, but bad for the season.
Oh yeah, well you know me, I start drinking about 48 hours before my draft. So
yes.
But we haven't had a championship in a few years, so maybe I gotta re-examine that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll drink for you this week. Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, just a little water for me. No cheers, but I'll sip with you.
Oh baby, football,
Dougie. So yeah, we got a lot to cover today. We're wearing our Mets stuff because we thought we were going to lead with that, and then the Mets have lost 2 in a row. So now I want to talk. We decided let's talk a little football. Final rosters came in. Cuts happened and waiver wire pickups happened. So let's start with you, Doug. How do you feel about the Giants now that we've gotten to the final 53? Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on training camp? Daboll's first training camp. How are we looking? What are your thoughts? Give the audience some info.
Oh, well, I'm just going to start with the breaking news today. I heard we picked up a cornerback, a safety, some line help, and I believe a linebacker. But the safety's from the Jets, I believe.
Yes.
Kennard.
No, you picked up Jason Pinnock.
Oh, yes. Pinnock. Sorry.
Yeah. He was a 5th round pick last year, cornerback from Pittsburgh. And then they converted him to safety halfway through the year, and he was actually our starting safety for the last month of the season. And he showed some promise. I'm actually surprised we cut him, but I think it had something to do with another. I'll get into it when I talk about the Jets final. So that's your background on Pinnock. You got a good player though.
I did see the Jets had the most guys picked up today, which I guess is a testament to Joe Douglas. Or maybe his lack of judgment. No, but so look, the Giants need help everywhere. I don't think I'm breaking news here, especially in the secondary. Cornerback, I hope this guy McLeod that they picked up for Buffalo can help because it's not looking great. And, and we had a couple of injuries. Who knows who is healthy on the wide receiver core? Who knows about Tyrod? He's gonna, that's what that guy does, right? He gets hurt. So I've said this all along. If we're in a position where we're taking Stroud or Young, or Levis or whatever quarterback you like next year in the draft really high, I think that's fine. And otherwise, it's kind of, I see you yawning over there. It's kind of going to be a sleepy team this year. Maybe they surprise. Maybe Saquon absolutely goes off, and I hope he does. And I do like some of the receiving talent between Tony and Robinson, but I think this team's still going to struggle. But it's just great to see a new regime take over and make their moves. And I'm just hoping for the best.
Yeah. So I feel like, we watched the game. We beat you guys in the preseason. Who cares? That stuff doesn't mean anything. But my take is you've gotten some cornerstone pieces in place, right? You got your bookend tackles, and you've got a new offense. You got a new coach with a new offense that he's brought in, and you've got, you're rolling. You're playing with house money with Daniel Jones. He's in the last year of his rookie contract. If you're up against the cap. If he does well this year, then you can figure out what to do with him, because you can franchise him, or you can franchise and trade him, or if he stinks, you can just let him walk.
Yeah.
But you brought in Taylor, who is Mr. Glass, because the hit that got put on him. I've never been tackled by a 280-pound lineman, so maybe it hurt a lot more than it looked like it hurt. But yeah, he's a system quarterback that knows the system. He's there a year early, so if you do bring in Stroud or whoever that you end up drafting, if that's the route you go, you got a veteran there that's good, that knows his role. He's not trying to compete for that starting job.
Right.
He knows he's there to pass the torch and get this kid up and running as quickly as possible. So I think you're doing all the right things, which compared to the last however many years Gettleman was there, you are at least moving in a direction. You're all rowing in the same direction. It's not, two guys trying to go left and three guys going right.
Yeah, like we're still maxed on the cap, but that's not Shane's fault. He's just unwinding all the mess, and
it takes a year.
Yeah, he could not fix that in 1 year. And but yeah, as you mentioned, at least maybe there's a philosophy. I will be watching Brian Dabble, how he does this year. We've seen 2 or 3 coaches now just look completely overwhelmed by actual game action. Which is kind of pathetic if you're going to be one of the so-called marquee franchises in the NFL. The only other thing I'll add is I am highly interested to see how obviously Neil, but also Thibodeau does, and that was quite the scare a couple weeks ago where the Bengals, I believe, tight end undercut him or cut his knee out.
Yeah, that was a chop block for sure.
Yeah, and that would have been very, very New York Giants if he just didn't play. But good to see. It looks like he's okay. But yeah, I mean, we'll see about Shepard. We'll see about Tony. A lot of mystery guys on this roster.
A lot of guys coming back from injury, or like you said, I think mystery is the best way to sum it up with Tony. Yeah. And I do like that the NFL they started doing it last year post-COVID with the new CBA. You get almost 2 weeks between the end of training camp, cut day, and kickoff, right? So the first game is actually 9 days from today, and that's the Thursday night game. And most games are 2 weeks from this Sunday, right? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they cut a preseason game too. They're not grinding these guys down before the season.
They only do 3. They only do 3 preseason games now. That was part of the CBA as well, and so I think there's things that can happen. People can shake free. Someone was saying the other day on one of these talking head shows that this is where they think a lot of contract extensions are going to get done in this little window of time, because now the salary cap is more in focus. There's still about 5 or 6 teams over the cap, one of which is the New York Jets. So people still have roster moves to make, and that's why.
By the way, I think the Giants are too technically. I think.
So I'm sure there's still roster moves, and there's IR and things of that nature. Yep. So we'll see how it shakes out. And
we'll see a couple of trades too. We saw Rager go to the Vikings today.
Jalen Rager to the Vikings today, which I think is going to be the long-term solution for Adam Thielen when he is done. See. Yeah. I mean, that's what they're hoping.
KJ Osborne.
I think Osborne will take Thielen's spot, and then Rager will move into the slot, and I think that's what they're hoping they can do. And they got a first round pick talent that went ahead of one pick ahead of Justin Jefferson for a 7th round pick.
Oh man,
right? Eagles definitely kicking themselves for that one.
Yeah, they are, but they're pretty stacked. They picked up that cornerback from New Orleans. They're looking good this year.
Yes.
Who knows though? This has been all pent up. So
yeah,
thank God it's here, man. I'm going to let you talk about the Jets. Enough about the stupid Giants.
Yeah. I mean, same on this side. You know, we had a couple of questionable cuts, but like they weren't really questionable. Those guys that played well in camp. Pinnock is a guy I think was the biggest surprise that we let go.
Yeah, we'll take him.
Yeah, and we cut a bunch of. We had 7 guys claimed off of waivers, all of which were, you know, none of them are going to probably start anywhere. But I guess it's a testament to Douglas being able to, rebuild the talent on this team. And so I don't know. There was a few like Pinnock. I don't understand how he got cut when he had starting reps last year. And Ashton Davis is a guy that we took in the 3rd round, super athletic, but has just not been able to put it together as a pro. So far, he made the team. He didn't show anything in the preseason. He still made the team. And then we kept a couple of undrafted free agent rookies. This kid Hall made it as the 4th safety, and I guess he's a special teams ace. So we'll see how that shakes out. And I think, I think they think some of these guys that got picked up off waivers will end up getting dropped in the first week or two, and they'll try and put them back on the practice squad.
Right.
But for the final 53 on the Jets, we finally have a kicker in Zerline, so I'm happy about that.
Greg the leg.
Zach is thankfully he didn't tear his ACL or any of the ligaments. He just had
Speaking of scares, preseason scares, right?
Oh my God, dude! I bought the NFL Plus just to watch the Jets preseason games.
Oh, and yeah, that's your first mistake.
Yeah, and I watched 4 plays of the Jets preseason. I saw Zach, pop his knee, and I didn't watch any more.
And you threw the remote through the wall.
I did. threw the remote through the wall, right through the wall. So, I think we got some talent on this team finally. Our receiver group is really up and coming. I think our tight ends, our tight end group for the last 2 years has been awful. Ryan Griffin was our starter. He's been garbage, and I think he's the backup now in Chicago or something. And we have 2 legitimate starting tight ends, and we kept 2 other guys. We drafted 1 young guy, and we kept Lawrence Cager. And I think it's going to give LaFleur some options to run a lot of 12 personnel. And I think that's where he learned how to run offense out in San Francisco. That's how Shanahan runs a lot of 12 personnel. He's made Kittle a fortune by being a really, really good tight end for a really long time. So I actually think, for you folks out there that are looking for sleeper tight ends because it's such a shitty fantasy position, Ty Conklin is a guy you should keep your eyes on because you can probably get him in the last round of your draft. And I think they're going to try and make this guy the Kittle role in this offense. And if they do, that's a win. That's a league winner right there.
I mean, obviously, that's why I love this time of year. There's like 20 different sleeper tight ends.
Yep.
2 of those predictions will be correct. But you guys have obviously had just a murderer's row of shit in terms of tight end over the years.
Yep.
It would be cool to see that figured out finally.
Yep. And, our O-line, I mean, we had Ken Becton go down for the season.
Oh, yeah. It's
gross.
been a while since we did it. There's a lot has happened, man.
Damn. Yeah. So we picked up Dwayne Brown. Thank God he was still available and signed. And Fant was able to slide back to right tackle. I think our O-line is going to be good enough. And I think our D-line is nasty. I think we kept 10 guys, and we still cut 2 guys I think we wanted to keep. And hopefully, I think they both made it to the practice squad. But 10 rotational guys. We only have 4 D tackles, but we got 2 ends that can also play tackle, so it's more like 6 and 8. But 14 D linemen, that's a lot of D linemen. That's more than.
That's kind of how you guys roll. I mean,
14 D linemen that can only play 4 positions on the field. So I mean, 10 is probably good. 14, I think, is overkill. But I have a feeling Vinny Curry, one of the guys we kept that's a veteran, I think they're going to put him on IR. Which I think is how we're going to probably free up a lot of that money on the cap space.
Nice.
And then
how are we feeling about Sauce and Garrett Wilson real quick?
Garrett Wilson, I think he's not. They're saying he's not starting. They say he's the fourth receiver right now. He had quite a few drops, but he made a lot of good plays as well. I think it's just a matter of time before he's playing outside. They slide Elijah Moore into the slot, and Berrios will be the fourth guy. But I think they like what Berrios brings to the table for now, and the comfortability of the offense, and let Wilson ease his way into the lineup. So I think he'll probably end up starting by week 4 or so. And as far as Sauce, I mean, dude, the guy played 3 preseason games and nobody threw a pass his way. I mean, that's crazy to me. Like, yes, I think he looked good in college. He was who I wanted to draft. I didn't think they would take a cornerback, but when they did, I was not upset. You need a shutdown cornerback in the NFL, and I think he did everything. They won't call him Sauce until after week 1. They keep calling him Ahmad. They said you can't earn a nickname until you play in the NFL.
He already signed some endorsements, though, man. So
he signed endorsements with Buffalo Wild Wings. He's got his own sauce, which is hilarious. So.
Right. And if you guys remember previous episodes, I really wanted him on the Giants. So long term, that's going to be fun watching if Thibodeau or maybe Gardner was the better pick there.
Absolutely.
God, what? So we got Flacco week 1 likely, right? Or is that official?
Seems pretty much a done
how
deal.
are you feeling overall about this season? I mean, my thoughts on the Giants here, but
I think I'll save my predictions for next week. But I think we're gonna do better than we did last year, which is not that hard to do. I think we will look like a more professional football team. I think we'll be ready to play every week. I'm assuming that the vanilla defenses that we were calling all preseason are because it was preseason and we didn't want to show a lot of things, all the wrinkles that we've added. Otherwise, if we haven't changed the defense, then nothing matters because we're going to be, giving up 40 points a week. So I don't know. I got to assume
if you put 14 DLs on the field, that might help though.
Yeah. 11 D linemen everywhere. You just rush the passer as fast as you can.
NFL blitz.
So.
No, the reason I ask is because I saw they're already doing mock drafts for next year, of course, because we click on it, and they were using expected wins, and somehow the Jets had the first pick.
Yeah, so I think a lot of that.
The Giants were not in the top 5.
I think a lot of that.
I think is backwards.
I think a lot of that has to do with how bad Zach Wilson played last year in his rookie year, and how he was. I wouldn't say he was historically bad, but his numbers were, most quarterbacks don't know, and most quarterbacks don't recover from having numbers like that. So, the hope is that he takes a step forward this year and he looks like an NFL quarterback. In the 4 plays he played in the preseason, he looked like the same guy from last year, which scared the shit out of me. Then he fucking twisted his knee, and I don't know. Now he's working his way back. So we'll see, man. I hope that this guy takes a step forward. I hope he's the real deal. I don't think there's many guys in the NFL with arm talent like his, but arm talent only gets you so far. You got to be able to read a defense, and you got to be able to make the throws. So
you're in a better spot after year 1 than you were with Darnold.
Yeah, because I believe year 2 with Darnold was right before like opening day. I don't know if it was opening day or week 2. They announced he had mono, right?
Yeah. So I don't remember if that was his rookie year or year 2.
Yeah, that was year 2, I believe. And it was just never recovered from there.
Just the first year.
Yeah. I mean, he's never recovered. He's proven that he also just doesn't know how to read a defense. He's got some talent as a quarterback, but he doesn't know how to set his feet. He's got happy feet. Can't read a defense. So, and he's got some athletic ability, but he couldn't even beat out Baker Mayfield. And I think I like Baker, but I don't think he's an upper
echelon. You used to love Baker.
I still think Baker's great. I think he's going to do well in Carolina. I think Sam is just done.
What was your team name that year? It was a Baker quote, and I can't think of it. It was embarrassing though.
It was bad.
Yeah, because you didn't make the playoffs.
No,
it's like they woke up something, or I don't know.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. So no more.
I have to get these shots in, man. You were like 2-time champ last year, so
yeah.
You know what? I got to do it.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that next week. I'll gloat a lot more. So I think for the season, we'll get more into that next week. Yeah. I think that's a good amount of football talk But yeah, let's
catch up on the goddamn Mets, man.
On the goddamn New York Mets.
It mixed bag the last few weeks, but I was kind of updating our we prepped this and we do a little sheet. Believe it or not, we don't just spout off the top of our head. But I was updating since the last time we spoke. I was updating their record, and apparently they've been 17-10 in the last 3 weeks. It doesn't seem like it, does it?
I think it's because our bullpen has been poop.
Well, I want to start with the fact that we went to one of the Yankee games last week, and obviously the Yankees took both of those. Fun night in the Bronx. We all got home in one piece, but not a great result. And then so they've been kind of up and down, right? Took care of business with Colorado, and then last night was frustrating, but it was a great baseball game. Where do you want to start with the Mets right now?
I think, you're alluding to all of it. We're still playing good baseball. We lost 3 out of 4 in Atlanta, and we lost both games to the Yankees. And then last night then we did take 3 out of 4 against the Phillies in 3 days. We took care of business 3 out of 4 against the Rockies. I think the frustrating thing for me is
that Phillies series was huge. They needed that.
Yeah, we shut that season. We shut them up for the season.
Yeah.
And I was watching with my buddy Colin, who's a Phillies fan, and he had high hopes.
Colin, I remember that guy.
Yeah, he had high hopes going, and we were together in Baltimore on my bachelor party trip. And night one, he was going to wear his jersey. His jersey never even got a chance to get out of the closet because they got their butts kicked. But and they also had a couple of relief. They had that whole series, the relief pitching on both sides. I'm like, who the hell are these people, right? So anyway,
right. So yeah, it was the parade of randoms. By the way, shout out to the DeKecko brothers who we had on last episode 3 weeks ago. We were talking about that series, so like I'm guessing they had a good time too.
Yeah, I hope so. But I don't know, man. The frustration for me, and this is what Twitter's on fire about right now, is we didn't do enough at the deadline. And I mean, Joely couldn't get anybody out last night. He was not great. And Gibbons has like a 9. I think his ERA is under 9 now, but it's like a 7 or 6 ERA since we've picked him up. So neither one of those guys have done anything. And if you remember me screaming, we need a lefty reliever and a catcher. And last night, the other big spot was McCann with runners on base, and he could have pinch hit for him, and we didn't. It was a little early in the game
because they almost can't. Yeah.
So
and Darren Ruff, maybe you didn't have to throw 4 prospects and at this guy, and maybe you just call up Vientos, but they didn't. There's some stuff to pick at here, right?
Yeah.
And this also coincides with Pete Lindor, ice cold last week or so. I think what did Lindor go, like 0 for 20 till last night, something like that. This stuff happens in a long series, but yeah, last night was a little troubling. Obviously, I thought Taiwan battled through those innings, and he was more impressive later in the game. That was good to see. But you're right. You hand this off. If you hand this off to the bullpen early, like 6th inning, and need four innings from these guys, it's going to be white knuckle. And
I think that's the hardest part right now, Doug, is that you're playing the team, you're playing the Dodgers, who are what I wanted at the trade deadline.
Especially from the left side, just stacked.
Yeah, and I wanted their 1 through 9. There's no easy out in that lineup.
Maybe the catcher,
but no, not even the catcher. Will Smith is a great hitting catcher, and the backup is
that walk to Barnes last night was
Austin Barnes, right?
Right.
Exactly. And it's like the problem is we have a major hole in our lineup that can be exploited, which is the catcher spot, whether it's Nito or McCann, and if Escobar or Beatty is playing third, our lineup is now down to 7 because Guillorme is out. Beatty and Escobar are switching up at third. Beatty looks a little overmatched still, although I did get to see his first career game and home run out in Atlanta, which was super cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. And Escobar is still not playing great this year. And to your point, Ruff, and Naquin are two of the guys we picked up, and Givens. All the guys we picked up besides Vogelbach are not playing great since we got him. Naquin had a couple of good games, but he's hitting like 225 since we picked him up.
Yeah.
And Ruff, I don't even think is hitting 200 since we picked him up.
It's like they had a bump in the first couple of weeks, but in the last 3 or 4 weeks, they contributed nothing, unfortunately.
Nothing. And I will say this. I think this team is exhausted right now.
Yeah,
I think that
I agree with that.
I think that, there was a clip of Pete walking into the clubhouse, like coming from the players' lot to the clubhouse a couple of days ago. And it looked like he just rolled out of bed. He was wearing, he looked like he dressed, like he just rolled out of bed, and he looked exhausted. And so he walks in and he's been scuffling, like you said. Lindor's been scuffling. Nimmo's been scuffling. He's starting to break out a little bit. But nobody's really like getting those big hits right now, and the lineup has become shortened. And when you got cold guys with only 7 of them viable as hitters,
yeah,
it's tough, dude. It's tough.
Like we're at the part of the year where everyone's yelling at people are starting to yell at Buck. Like, why is McNeil hitting 7th?
Right.
I kind of don't blame them. That's the one guy who's been raking.
Right.
Sorry, I got a crowd in the background. What was I going to say? Maybe bump him up. I don't know. I think you're absolutely right, though. That was a brutal road trip,
right?
Where it was a couple of double headers, if I'm not mistaken. But it was Atlanta, Philly, New York, and I didn't realize New York's not a road trip, but that's always like heightened expectations. Yep. You can't ignore it. I don't think as a player, you're like, shit, I'm in Yankee Stadium, right?
Yeah.
Which,
by the way, yes, we've played so many games, and after this LA series, it opens up. I think we have to play
it's like spring training now.
Yeah, I think we play Atlanta one more time.
Right.
And then
everyone else sucks.
Everyone's under 500. Maybe the Brewers might be.
Are we done with the Phils? I think we are, right?
We're done with the Phils.
Yeah.
I think we play Miami, Washington, and Atlanta one more time. And
Pittsburgh's coming up.
We play the whole NL Central.
Yeah.
And I think we play Oakland too, who also stinks.
Right.
So we got a schedule where we can rest some guys. The roster opens up starting tomorrow, where we can bring a couple guys up, and I think it's tomorrow, right?
I hope the plan wasn't to bring up Alvarez then, because he's done, right? I'm pretty sure he hurt his ankle. I think he's done for the year. So I'd like to see Vientos.
I think we will. I think we'll see some of these guys like Vientos, and I think we'll see a couple of these relief pitchers like this. I think his name is De Azamatis or something. He's got.
Yeah. We got a Bryce Montes de Oca or something.
Yeah. There you go.
No, I don't know. I've never said it out loud. I've read it.
I've never seen. I don't know if he's on the 40 man, but that guy looks like he can come in and pick up some innings. So I think,
who else is coming back? Joey Luke, and I might mess this up too, but Joey Lucchesi.
Yeah, Lucchesi. He wants the Beppo. But yeah, man, I think it's going to give these guys a little bit of, the bullpen a couple of innings off. Get Pete a day off. Get Frankie a day off. These guys need days off at the end. And get some R&R. And, if we take a couple L's on the way, like, we're making the playoffs. So
we're making the playoffs, but we do want to win. We do want to get the second seed.
Yes, we definitely want to get the second seed. But at the same time, we need to get rest for our guys. We need to get some rest, because if we go in exhausted, it'll be like the Brooklyn Nets last year in the playoffs. It's worthless. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So
don't even say that.
Yes, I won't say it. I won't say it. But how are you feeling, Dougie? How are you feeling about the Mets right now? What are you seeing?
I wish I had a hot take here, but I kind of agree. That was just a hell of a grind that they just went through, and that's how I started this off. I was kind of surprised their record was that good, considering all this. And I just love that we're in a pennant race. We haven't done this, I don't think, since 2016. Correct me if I'm wrong. We haven't had meaningful games. Foreshadowing for a Viacone later. And by the way, I'm going to get into it. Did you watch Old Timers Day?
I didn't, because I was doing the fantasy draft with you, and we tried to put it on, and everyone shut it down because they didn't want to watch it. But I saw all the clips.
I recorded it. It was awesome.
Yeah, man.
It was sloppy as hell. Kevin Elster can no longer field. I'm sorry to report.
Mookie was the MVP, correct?
Yeah, Mookie looked good out there, man.
Yep.
If we need a pinch runner,
he's 58.
Forget Terrence Gore, or Travis Jankowski, but
he's 68 years old, and he was like he had 2 doubles, I believe, in the game. So.
They had a guy from the '60s come out and pitch, which just blew my mind.
That's awesome.
Jay Hook. But anyway, if there's, I don't know if SNY, I don't know if you have the app or have any access, or you can find it somewhere, but check it out if you can. I forget why I brought this up, because I do want to talk about, I guess, at the end of the show, but I just want to say that, man, this is a special year in Flushing. And I think no matter what happens, it's going to be memorable. And so that's how I'm feeling about the Mets, man. Like nothing that's happened at all this month is going to take away my enthusiasm I have it on right now, by the way. It's on replay at SNY if you, in case you have that. Everything about this year has been fun as hell. I don't care.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
We got Jake tonight. Shit's looking up. I mean, tonight's gonna be a lot of fun. Jake versus the Dodgers. Let's go. And I'll just, I'll follow that up with the one other thing that has pissed me off in the last few games, the 17-10 stretch, even though we were up 7 games, is that we've lost quite a few of Jake and Max's starts. And they've been like Sunday against the Rockies, 1-0 horseshit start. Yeah.
Come on. Like Marquez, I know Marquez is their ace, but you can't score a run off of a Rockies pitcher. Like it shows me we're tired, but it's like, come on, guys. We cannot waste these pitching performances.
I mean, after Saturday, I think all of us, including you and I, were a little tired. So
yes, that is fair. But you made a good point, man. You brought up Old Timers Day, and you brought up how this has been a special season. We retired Willie Mays' number for the Mets, which was cool, very cool, and that just shows
really cool.
It shows who Steve Cohen is as an owner and how Met-centric he has always been. And Ray Knight said it best, fuck the Wilpons, right? He basically said it after in either the pre or post game presser.
Yeah.
Like, this is a real owner and the Wilpons were not real owners. And I agree. It's so egregious how so many years went by and they didn't, celebrate the past of this team. This team is 60 years old this year, right?
It's ridiculous. And when I heard that Joan Payson, who was, one of the original owners, if not the, promised Willie that they would do this, and that got forgotten for what, 40 years?
Yep. 60
because we were run by penny pinching Dodgers fans, basically.
Yep, exactly.
So, they couldn't retire Willie's number because they liked the Duke better or something. I mean, that's how petty I guess it got. And I'm sorry, maybe we can give the Wilpons a rebuttal if they need to or if they want to, but I mean, that's what I'm going to assume.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this was a team run by a guy that was broke, and if Bud Selig wasn't his best friend and didn't find a way to get him to be able to keep his franchise after the whole what was the guy's name that Madoff Ponzi scheme. Right. They should have been forced to sell at that point. Yep. But you know what? Everything happens for a reason. Thank God they didn't, because it led us to Steve. And Uncle Stevie has done everything to just celebrate the fact that we are not a second-rate franchise in New York City. We are currently the best franchise in New York City. And that is a great segue for me, because we did go to the Subway Series game at Yankee Stadium. And we're in our early 40s now, folks. We pop, and I've been in Yankee Stadium, the new and the old, but I never sat in the luxury suites. We sat in the Delta Sky box area. So with seats with a little club.
Like we weren't on the field, but we were behind home plate.
Yeah, we were behind home plate.
We're a little bit upstairs, but
we popped for the nicer seats, and we got a little club access. And I can tell you this, Doug, when you go to Citi Field, there is food options as far as the eye can see that are all great and edible. And the food at Citi Field that's the one thing the Wilpons got right, is they said, you know what, we're going to bring in all these, I don't know, they probably had nothing to do with it. They probably handed it over to someone else. But whoever designed Citi Field got it right with the food. There's Shake Shack and there's all these other barbecue and pizza.
The whole area in the outfield, right? With the bridge.
Right. But when you pay for the club access at Citi Field, they have all those outfield concession stands inside.
They'll go get you Shake Shack. Yeah.
And they also have them inside. If you remember, when you go inside, they have a smaller version of that just for the people that are in the club access.
Oh, I figured they just had runners run out to the outfield, but either way.
But what did we get at Yankee Stadium, dude?
Boiled ass hot dog.
We paid for the club access, and I'm not trying to have first world problems or sound like a bougie bitch, but I'm going to tell you, for what I paid for that seat, I expected to not have shitty carnival food, and it was shitty carnival food. It was fried and everything.
Yeah, I mean, good call on this first world problem thing, but I have had equivalent, if not worse, or better food at Bridgeport Sound Tiger games.
Right. It was literally nachos that were like already in a bag, dumped into a little holder with the nasty cheese and like some fucking shitty salsa that you get from Cisco. And that was what I paid. I mean, whatever I paid for it, I don't care. I don't mind paying for the food and the experience. I went to Atlanta, Truist Park, the week before, and that place is done right. And it's a couple years newer than Yankee Stadium, but it's not like brand new. It's 5 years old. I think Yankee Stadium is probably like 10, 11 years old. And the food is night and day. So shame on you, Yankees fans. Shame on you, New York Yankees, for putting that product out there to forget me as a Mets fan that's coming in for one day. For your fucking fans who come out, you guys sell out every game almost. You have 3 million fans almost every year. You guys are putting a decent product on the field, and that's what you serve your people for the ticket prices you charge. Shame on you.
Right. And by the way, I want to clarify, the staff there was fine. The actual workers there, the bartenders, the people serving were great. It was just the actual quality of like what was being slung there, man.
Yeah. Jesus. Quality of food was garbage. Awful. So segueing right along, garbage in, garbage out. Let's move this right along.
Aaron Judge is a nightmare, but yeah.
Well, hopefully, I don't know if we're going to sign him, but I hope we go after him, and I hope we go after
how fun
Ohtani.
would that be? I don't see it, but
you never know. We needed a center fielder after this year. That's for damn sure. So and I don't know if we can.
Oh, come on, where's Nimmo going?
I don't know if I'm just saying they're both free agents. So I don't know if we can, but the fact of the matter is
that'd be the ultimate fuck you, obviously, from Stevie.
For once, it's not like out of the question that we could chase a big name free agent. So
no,
I love it.
No.
So
and by the way, real quick on that point before you move on, great article today on how Stevie Cohen's trying to emulate the Dodgers, and check it out.
I will. That's on The Athletic, right?
Both spending wisely, but also developing what a concept, trying to win. Holy shit.
Yep. All the time. Although I think we pinched a couple too many pennies, Epler, on this trade deadline again. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm not going to
True. That's a good point, man. Especially a catcher. God damn it.
Come on, Contreras.
Christian Vázquez is hitting.
Yeah.
We haven't tried.
No. So we haven't had a chance to talk about the New York Islanders in a while. And that's where my segue on garbage was.
I think last time we recorded, Kadri hadn't signed yet. I'm guessing.
Oh, he had signed, because I was wrong yet again that he had already signed with the New York Islanders. Did we do it?
Because you wanted to call Fire Lou, and then we had to cancel the episode.
No, we did do the Fire Lou episode, we talked about the reason that Kadri hadn't announced anything is because he had signed, and Lou wasn't going to announce it, and I was 150% sure, and blah blah blah, and yet again I was wrong. So, if there's one thing we've learned in the 24 episodes of This Is Our Year, is that any prediction I make, do the opposite. Bet on the opposite. And so Kadri signs.
Hear that, kids? When you're betting with your dad's phone, so don't listen to Mike.
So 7-7, which you hated the length and you hated the money, and you would not have liked that coming.
Oh yeah, no, that's a shitty contract. Well, especially for the Islanders. The Islanders don't need a center, but. Go ahead.
Yeah, so he goes to Calgary, and then Lou, after that, I think everyone was up in arms because we hadn't heard shit. There's nobody left on the free agent market, and he announces the 3 restricted free agent signings, which, whatever. Like, we signed.
He can announce that anytime.
Right. So I guess he was trying to clear cap space and to sign Kadri, and I guess he was trying to clear cap space to sign Gaudreau.
Guess what? Other teams don't do that first.
Right.
Backwards.
Right. So it's another year of Lou with an underwhelming offseason, and we're going into this season with the same guys we've gone into the last 2 seasons with, Doug.
Running it back.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. We don't feel great. I mean, there are some good arguments about how this team is going to bounce the hell back, and I will entertain them closer this season, and that's fine. There's some talent here, but the overall point is that since Mr. Tavares left, Lou has been unable to upgrade the forwards. I don't think it gets any simpler than that. He put together a hell of a team with a Hall of Fame coach who I attribute most of the success to. So we lost him, but the guy who re-signed all the players who were mostly under Garth, dude, this has like been the same team for like, what, 6 years?
Yeah.
I mean, like, sure, swap in Sorokin, which is a Garth pick, but Lou got him over here. Everybody else, like who am I forgetting here that Lou's brought in that has actually contributed? Kyle Palmieri, I'm sorry, it doesn't do it for me.
No, JG Pajot. You're talking about Lou's brought in.
Pajot was a good move, fine.
It was a good move, but
third line center though.
You brought in bottom 6 guys since you've been here. You've overpaid the 4th line.
Right.
And because
everybody gets extensions all the time.
Yep, and because you, except for Devin Tays, the one guy that needed the extension, and because you overpaid the fucking 4th line, we couldn't re-sign the guy that was like second in the whatever the defenseman of the year. Norris, is it Norris? Yeah, that and he goes and wins a ring, a cup this year.
I mean, sure, he's on like a ridiculous team, and Cal Makar or Maker or whatever is like Bobby Orr too, but still, man, like
I don't care, man.
It was painfully obvious when it happened that it was a bad trade.
Couldn't even get a first for the guy,
right?
But then,
go ahead.
I mean, why not? Why not get rid of Komarov early? Why are we signing a guy like I can't think of the guy's name that he loves from Minnesota from back in his days with Jersey.
I mean that guy's making the minimum, whatever. But like, again, there were the excuses from all the insiders. Lou, wanted him, but he had to move out some cap. And whose fault is that?
Right.
This is like Dave Gettleman all over. If this team goes to shit, we're basically in Lou Gettleman territory. Like, I just couldn't do anything. We're capped out, dude. You've been here 4 years,
right?
That's your cap,
right? I mean, but where's the creativity,
right?
Where like you and fine, you want to make that argument again? I'll agree with you. Like we had some extenuating circumstances. I've heard it. I've made it. I've made that argument. It's not wrong. I think with some health and no circumstances next year of 13 games on the road to start the season or fucking all these stupid COVID outbreaks. Yeah. I think that we will be in a better spot, but are we going to be contending for a title next year?
I don't think playoffs are a lock. Some people do. I think that's questionable.
I mean, I think we'll be fighting for the 6, 7, 8 seed. I think we're a team that I don't know what our offense is going to look like.
Right.
I don't know what our defense is going to look like because Lou wants to talk about Lane Lampert is going to take us into a new realm and it's going to be a little bit more offensive. That's fine, but we have the same fucking team that's slow as fuck. So if we're not playing a grinding left wing lock defense, how is that going to look? It maybe it opens up and maybe Villiers scores 20 and Barzal scores 25.
Sure, like Barzal can put up 90 if we're doing Dougie Waite hockey.
Yeah, but are we losing 6-5 every night? That's my question.
Look, and I think the frustrating thing with all of this is that it actually is a really good core. I don't want to put down these guys. These guys are fucking warriors. We've seen it 2 conference finals, but that's what makes it so frustrating, right? Because they've gotten that close, but he's never been able to make that final addition to put him over. They might have already missed their window. They're going to go for it again this year. But
they have no fucking choice. That's the goddamn problem. Is that we're capped out. And what are we going to do?
He never figured it out. And he did an okay job over last year getting rid of like Letty or I'm sorry, Ladd. They missed Letty, it turned out. But but it's all just treading water. That's all he's done. And he went into this offseason saying he was going to make a hockey trade, which I guess means trading player for player. Well, that hasn't happened.
Nope.
And sure, Romanov might be a good pickup but it was the 13th overall pick. I mean, he better be good.
Right.
And that's the only thing they did. So we're replacing Chara with Romanov.
Replacing Chara with Romanov, and we're replacing Green with some combination
Salo, I
of
guess.
Salo and Aho.
Aho cannot play NHL hockey.
Him and his DUI.
Yeah.
Did you hear how he got a DUI? By the way, this is crazy. He got a DUI in Sweden.
Yeah,
Sweden.
I think he's Swedish. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess in Sweden the limit is 0.02, right?
Right. So which is basically like inhaling some scotch.
Yeah, that's like one drink. Yeah. So you would be legally drunk in Sweden, which is fine.
I am already a Swedish criminal.
Yes,
right now.
Swedish house mafia. But I guess this guy he went out partying the night before, went to bed, got up in the morning, and went driving with his wife. And I don't know why there's a checkpoint in the morning, and he blew a 0.03. And got a DUI, which
dude, I'm not gonna get up. Come on.
No. I just think it's crazy circumstances. But
it was funny because I think people got it wrong at first, and it was 0.32, and I'm like, oh, shit.
You're probably almost
that
dead
is
at that
hammered.
Point.
That is a couple of our friends on Washington Street on Saturday night.
Oh, dude. So I got to tell the story. We're down in South Norwalk, which is where I'm from Norwalk, Connecticut. Doug has lived in and around Norwalk forever, and
right by Space Cat.
We spent a lot of time together at the bars in Sono, if you're familiar with the spot on Washington Street. And we hadn't all gotten together for a fantasy draft since COVID. So I flew in, his brother flew in from Texas, and all the other guys made sure they were there, except for one who was on a vacation or whatever. Bachelor party. So we all were drinking we had been time went on. We'd started drinking. I think the draft started at 2. And by about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, we're all, kind of getting ready to go home. And poor Doug and his fiancee, Jenny, had to, herd 3 cats, which was Josh, Jed, and your brother, John. And it was like, they all walked out of the bar, and dude, it was like Weekend at Bernie's, all 3 of them. They were just, kind of leaning back, and head was bobbling all left and right. And I'm like, oh man, you okay over here? you got to deal with that? Yes, you did. That was great.
I was not, it wasn't great. Poor Jenny. That's all I got to say. God, we hadn't done that in a while. It was good to see everybody, but maybe actually it's your fault. You gave them 3 hours to open bar. And
I did. It was worth every penny of it.
I was trying to stick to like the Modelo cans, but I saw some people get into a lot of red wine and cocktails, and that'll do it. When you're day drinking and then night drinking, kids.
Yep. Dude, I had to get up at 5:45 the next day to catch my flight. That was probably my least favorite flight I've had in a while.
My brother crashed and he had an early flight too, and my mom actually picked him up, so I'm wondering how that car ride went.
John, you smell like booze. That's because it's booze. So we got a couple minutes left here. I wanted to touch on something that I was right about, which is the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, yeah.
Brooklyn Nets. So
we're still doing this Nets thing, huh?
We're going to talk about it for a
second.
No,
I mean overall. But,
I know.
You're still trapped in this.
This
situation.
So KD rescinded his trade demand. He's coming back. Marks and Nash are coming back. We finally settled the offseason. Kyrie's coming back, and we've made a couple of signings in the last few days to shore up the bench. And broken symmetry. That sounds like a good drink.
Someone left this in my fridge, but it looks good.
Yeah, I hope it is.
A little extra blonde ale.
Yeah, there we go. So, he's coming back, and I think, some people say they amended fences on the outside so that it makes it easier for Brooklyn to work on a trade. That's possible. I think he realized, anywhere he was going to go, they were going to have to gut their team, and he was going to be in a worse off situation. And he was going to, they weren't going to get rid of him for nothing, for pennies on the dollar. I think he realized his leverage was gone, and he's back, and he's got Kyrie. And you look at this team on paper, and if they can keep their egos in check, it's a top quality team. But we'll
Probably
see.
skeptical, but yeah, we will see. I feel like Mark's told him, "Hey, you like Memphis? It's Memphis or Brooklyn, buddy."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Fine."
Yeah. I don't know how that went down. But I think if they can just play basketball, Kyrie shows up for 50, 60 games.
What a concept.
Yeah. And with the bench that they put together, I think I like the bench a lot better. I like the starting five a lot better this year than I did last year. And I think they can get back to a little bit of running the ball a little bit more and not ISO heavy. And the team.
Let's hope, because the offense did look constipated last year.
Constipated.
At least towards the end.
Yep. So
I don't know, man. I don't have much to add to that, but do you hate this? Are you sick of this?
I mean, I think that was a whole prima donna, both of them, and they're trying to get their money and they do what they want to do. And I just, who knows, man. I would love for Kyrie to just, play his guts out. I'd love for KD to play his guts out and then let the chips fall where they may. But we'll see if that happens. So
are the Lakers rumors for Kyrie ever going to stop? Is that just
those are done. Those are done. There's no way that we are
taking Russ
there's no way that we're getting Russ back at this point. I mean, maybe if they had offered 4 first-round picks or 3 first-round picks and we had to take Russ to get him, sure. But yeah, it's not a 1-for-1 with a first-round pick. I'd rather Kyrie sit out the year and do nothing. Why would I take Russ back more money and not to get any assets? And I think you saw that when they made the move. They picked up Patrick Beverly the other day. So they did,
which is hilarious.
Because doesn't he hate LeBron? Isn't that how that works?
Yeah, and Russ too. Or maybe I'm mixing that up. Not the NBA guy here, but
no. So Dougie, it's been a great show. Happy to be back. This new background, everything we've been talking a little bit, catch up. What do you got to say?
I already alluded to this, but this weekend really, really drove it home. This is not breaking news. These guys have been gone, but Jeff and Fred, via con Dios, holy shit. Just the thing I said about Stevie Cohen trying to emulate the Dodgers, plus everything that happened with Old Timers Weekend, was way overdue. Thank God a lot of these guys are still with us to celebrate the New York goddamn Mets, who are going to be the best baseball team in New York. So via con Dios, the Wilpons, once again, God, it feels good to say that.
Via con Dios, especially Jeff. Jeff, you were groomed to take over this team and be an owner that was going to take this team into the next century, and you failed miserably. You are like the Daniel Snyder of owners. You sexual harassment.
If there was a Daniel Snyder Jr., we'd be the typical fail son. Prototypical.
Yep. Didn't want Keith Hernandez around the team in spring training for what? You know nothing about baseball, and it's sad. Your life is sad. So goodbye. Good luck.
Just seeing how happy these former players were to be back.
Yep.
I mean, they weren't. They were polite, but you could tell they just wanted to talk shit.
Absolutely.
About the last regime. So it's over.
All right, Dougie. Well, it's been a great show.
Hell yeah.
Audience, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching.